First and foremost, when you throw the pads on, you want these guys to prove to me that, you have some coordination. And as they work together and they practice together, we're looking for that continuity in the groups, whether it be the offensive line or the defensive line picking up where they left off last year, just proving to me that, that you have some coordination and you're working well. And that's one of the things that we looked at, we saw today. Really pleased with that. I thought there was a lot of positives from it as well. And the tempo did get ramped up a little bit, and there was some energy out there, and that's what we're looking for. I mean, we're getting into the dog days. It'd be nice if it was a little bit warmer, but it was a good practice. I like the tempo more than anything else.
With Cosme and Sadiq at guard, when you look back at their stints at tackle, what do you kind of see from that to move them into guard, and then does that kind of, you drafted them to be tackles, obviously.
Well, I mean, we had an opportunity to grab a guy in Wiley that we felt really comfortable with. Here's a guy that knows the system's going to come in and help everybody else. And that was the idea behind that. And what that did was prompted us to just go ahead and make a decision on Sam and say, hey, we're going to throw you at right guard, leave you at right guard, use your athletic ability, use your power and strength, and do the best. And that's what he's doing right now. And we're real excited to watch him as he continues to grow and develop. As far as Sadiq, we know Sadiq can do a lot of things. And with Charles, again, we keep him at that high level, play at that level. It gives us a chance to protect the quarterback, which I think is one of the most important things you got to be able to do.
And then just following up on kind of what you were just saying about the former name the other day, is you said it was kind of hard to escape it, and I'm wondering if you could kind of expand on that thought. Is it just that there are so many former players who played for this franchise for Redskins?
Well, I think it's a big part. I mean, again, remember, 1932 is when this all started, so it's one of those things where, I think it gets ingrained, and there's a lot of people that, that still hold on to it. And again, just understand it is with all due respect that we do. And that's the one thing, if anybody ever brings it up or talks about, the previous name, it's with tremendous amount of respect and admiration.
With the pads coming on, is there, as you're watching practice, do you get a good feel for kind of guys who get excited for days like today when they're hitting, and guys who are a little more reticent for the contact?
Well, I think that's one of the things you look for is that, there are some guys that do enjoy the contact. They think that's a big part of the game, and they play that way. And those are the guys that you're looking for. Those are the guys that you like to set the tone and tempo. I mean, today was I told the players, this is going to be a tone setter. We're gonna put a lot on you. We're going to do a lot of things. And we're going to be physical, and we're going to expect it out of you. I thought the way they stepped up, I thought the way they reacted to it, and the way they practiced smart. We try to get them to play with their eyes and not the top of their heads. And I think the guys are doing a real nice job with that.
With some of the stuff, you had a lot of the second offense against the number 1 D, first O against the number 2 D. What's the thought process behind that?
Well, because some of those guys may have to play. You know what I'm saying? It's good for the twos to get an opportunity to play against those guys, not just when somebody gets nicked, but as part of a group and as a unit. We wanted to see the guys that were working together go against another group. And so it was something you should do when you get out there every now and then. It's just every now and then, too.
Sure. And then when you're watching the pads, was there any moment that just jumped out to you where somebody flashed maybe? There's just anything that would just...
Well, I was trying to look, between the individual drills, and watching the one-on-one pass while I'm watching the inside run, and then trying to watch the one-on-one pass protection when I'm watching the 7-on-7, and it's interesting. You see some guys that are having success, and then as we start, into the team stuff, we had the special category right off, right after we did the inside run drill, we had the special category, and you watch some guys because now we're down in the red zone. We're playing red zone football, and you see certain guys get amped up, get ramped up, and not want to allow certain things to happen or trying to make certain things happen.
Anybody jump out?
Well, there's a number of guys that jumped out. I mean, I don't want to get specific right now because it's only been day one. But there were a couple guys that showed some stuff. In the secondary, I like some of the things that we're doing. It's funny, Jack and I had a conversation about the different nuances to what we do and how these guys are adapting. And you see those guys that we were talking about do the things that we want. I love what we're seeing on the defensive line. I think, you see how Chase and Jonathan and Montez and Duran have just picked up where they left off. I mean, that's a huge plus for us. And then look at the offensive line. It's a work in progress because it's 5 different guys working together, and we got to build that coordination. They got to show me that, and that's what we're looking for.
Ron, when you're looking at the line play, the one-on-one drills, what are you looking for in those drills? What's the point? I mean, know what the point. What's for you?
If I'm watching a defensive guy, it's really about get off and how quickly he gets across the line and gets into his pass rush. As far as the offensive guy is, how disciplined is he? How much will he stick to his technique? And then at what point does he become a street fighter and will he fight? And then what happens if they get beat? What do they do the next time, whether on offensive line or defensive line? How are they going to react to that stuff? I mean, there's a lot of technical aspect to it, but those are the little things that you look for as well.
And with regards to the other side, with the pads on, Emmanuel Forbes, I don't know how much you could see of him, but the physical play with pads, receivers being able to be more aggressive, how did you see him react to that?
Well, that'll be something I'll be taking a much deeper look at as we get into film study. I really didn't get to focus in on him every chance I got, so when I get a chance to review the tape, that's one of the things I will be looking at.
And I guess then just to, in general then with that, how much, a lot of it's made of his size, how much is that part with his lack of bulk in those one-on-one situations with a physical receiver? How much is that something that you've been keeping an eye on?
Well, I mean, you saw it when you put the tape on from his college days, and again, he was in the SEC, and there's some pretty good stuff. So, I expect to see pretty much the same thing that he did when he was playing at Mississippi State.
I had one more on the O-line, D-line, all that. You have one group that's highly experienced and work together, and the other group, as you said, learning to work together. So how do you as a coach process that when you're watching without, you can be excited about one without getting frustrated by the other, and allowing the other side to grow throughout? Absolutely,
and that's exactly it, because again, with our offensive line practicing against who they practice against, and the truth of the matter is what we want is that we want practice to be the more tougher experience for them. You know what I'm saying? Going against those guys, they're practicing at a high level all the time, so that when they get to the game, they know how to play at that level with that kind of intensity. And you see it. I mean, you see it from our O-line. You see it from Nick and Sam and and Andrew and Charles and Sadiq. I mean, you see those guys. So there is growth and development.
Take 2 more. Coach, can you speak on how you thought the receivers did today with the physicality, with the DBs allowing them be a little bit more physical? How do you think they stood up, especially like De'Ami Brown?
See, I think the young guys, it's getting used to the contact and the physicality of our DBs. But watching our veteran guys and seeing how Terry just, it's natural for Terry and Jahan learning how to do it. Watching those two specifically, that's been big. Curtis is no stranger to Curtis, so he's pretty good with it. But as you watch the younger guys, you see that they can't let themselves get knocked off line. They got to get back into their routes or back into their path as quickly as possible, so that they can give the quarterback a true read as he's dropping back.
Last one.
With what you were saying about maturity the other day, how beneficial was that 2021 season in hindsight to kind of learn through?
I think it was very, very, very important for us in terms of our development growth, because I think if it told our guys one thing, you just can't show up. You just can't pick up where you left off. Just because you were, top 3, 4, 5 doesn't mean you're going to be top 3, 4, 5. You got to start from the bottom, be good with your base fundamentals, be good with your techniques, and then take that and transfer it onto the field every day. There is no such thing as all of a sudden, hey, I'm back, I'm ready to go. No, you got to prepare yourself for what's going on as far as the season's concerned.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.